Hello everybody, I'm Nick, and in the previous video we covered the basics of feature flags in ASP.NET Core using the feature management package created by the Azure team. In this video we're going to be covering some more advanced features of that package, and we're going to see how we can make our own custom feature flag handlers as well. I won't be going through the basics again, so if you don't know what feature flags are and you want to get familiar with it, I highly recommend you click on the top right corner of your screen right now to watch that video first and then come back here once you're caught up with the previous video. The source for this video, as always, can be found in the description down below. This video is part of my .NET Core series, so if you don't want to miss any episodes, please subscribe and ring the sub notification bell to get notified when I upload a new episode. So as you can see here, I have the exact same application that I had before with the same index page that has a single feature tag helper, and we have a single simple feature flag here which has a true or false boolean. However, it's a holidays now, so what if under the welcome h1, the header, I wanted to have another, let's say h2, saying happy holidays? Well, I could do that very similarly. I would simply say feature and then name, and then I'd say holiday flag, and then I would put that there. And then I would create another boolean in the settings, and then I would deploy once to enable and once to disable in order to change the setting. The problem is that this includes deployment, and I don't want to do that. Another option would be to have it in the database and somebody goes in, enables it, and then somebody disables it. These are all great and they would work, yes, but they involve the human going in and doing the job. What I want to do is have it automatically enabled for the 25th and then for the 1st of January as well, and say, Happy New Year, for example. How can I do this? Well, the feature management package actually has a built-in functionality for a time window feature flag. And in order to enable this, I have to go to the configure services in the startup.cs, and in the add feature management, I need to say add feature filter and then time window filter. And this enables me to add time window filters, and then I can go to the app settings.json, and let's see what I named this. Okay, holiday flag. I'm gonna copy that and say comma. Of course, don't delete the true flag. So comma holiday flag, and then I'm gonna create an object here, and it's gonna have an enabled for object which contains an array of things, and the first object will have the configuration. So I'm saying I need the name of that to be time window. And this is very important because that name actually corresponds to the filter itself. And then every sort of this custom filter has a parameters object, and this parameters object has the settings. And this package has the start, which is a string, and the end, which is another string. And this represents when this feature will be enabled and then disabled. I'm going to use the current time and open it for a single minute and show you in real time how this works. So currently the time is 1932. So I'm going to say 25th of December 2019, and then I'm going to say 1934. I want you to enable it, and then plus 0000 to indicate my time zone, and then I want this to be turned off a minute later. And in order to see that the time is actually the one that you see, because you can't actually watch the time in my machine right now, I'm gonna put a div down here, and I'm gonna say in that div actually give it a class as well, small, and say at date time dot UTC now to string, and I'm gonna use the ISO date so we can see that. And that's all we need to enable. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just run it and go to the browser and wait for a minute to enable it, and then another minute to disable it. Of course, you won't have to go through that. I'm going to time skip it, but I'm going to show you what's the current time and what's the time when we enable it. So going to the browser, you can see that the current time is in 25 seconds, it will be 1934, and I should see something underneath this welcome. So now let's just wait for 20 seconds. So now it's 1934, so if I refresh, you can see that I see the Happy Holidays H2. And this could be anything. It could be Happy Holidays banner. You could have some different holiday-specific fonts. I don't know, anything you can imagine can go using that feature flag now across your whole application. And now I will inevitably have to wait 30 more seconds to show you that this will automatically turn itself off. So let's just wait. So I can see in my clock that the time is now 1935. So if I refresh, you can no longer see it. You can see that the time window is now closed, and it automatically shut itself down. So this little built-in functionality, we didn't have to code it. It was just there in that package we're using. And it's a very nice, neat feature that you can use today in your applications. And it has its use cases as not only holidays are time sensitive, but other things or some time-based feature testing that you have might go in here as well. Now this of course raises the question, what if I want to have my own custom functionality here? What if I want to have my own custom filter? And of course we can actually do that, and we are going to do that right now. This package actually does support extensibility. So what I'm going to go ahead is I'm going to create a directory. I'm going to say features in here, and in here I'm going to create a single class, and I'm going to name this class something like browser feature filter. And why did I name it that? I'm going to show you right now. This needs to implement the feature filter interface, which is built into that package, the feature management. And I'm going to implement the missing method. There's only one method. It's the evaluate async containing a context. And this context, as we can see, contains two things: parameters and the feature name itself, just so we can use it. It doesn't include any .NET specific things, which means that you can use this anywhere you want. However, for this specific example that I want to show you, I need to be able to access the request, the incoming request. So for that reason, I'm going to say private read-only HTTP context accessor, and this interface will allow me to access the incoming HTTP request when this filter is inevitably hit for evaluation. And what I want to evaluate against here is to make sure that I only have this feature enabled for users that are using Microsoft Edge. And I'm going to do this with a very stupid way. I'm just going to assume that if your user agent contains the word Edge, then you're coming from an Edge browser. This would work in most scenarios. Of course, if somebody fakes it, they would see it. But if you want to make it even cleverer, you can do something fancy. I'm just going to go with the stupid way. And things like getting the claim of the user that actually makes that request are other things you can use to make this user specific. But I'm just going to go with the browser right now. So I'm going to say var user agent to get the user agent. And I'm going to say HTTP accessor dot HTTP context dot request and then dot headers. And I'm going to say give me the value for the header user agent. And then just to string it because it's string values by default. And then what I'm going to get is I'm going to get some settings. I'm going to say context, which is this evaluation context dot parameters dot get. And I'm going to specify a generic T-type parameter here, the browser filter settings. I'm going to explain exactly right now what's happening here. Remember how in our time window filter, the one here, actually let me show you the class, we have these parameters here. Well, these are not coming out of nowhere. There's actually a class for them. If I go and decompile the time window filter in Rider, I'll be able to see the source code. And once that's completing decompiling, I can now show you in here that there is a time window filter settings class that's being retrieved. And this contains the same parameters. So we're going to create our own filter parameters here, and the name we're going to use is browser filter settings. And I'm going to do that in the same file. You could create your own file if you wanted to. For simplicity, I'm just going to give it here to have it contained. It's not the best practice, but it will get the job done. So what I want to say is allowed browsers, and this will be an array of strings. So if the browser name is contained here, you'll find this feature will be enabled for you. And that's how we can get the settings in our filter. And then the simple thing we need to do is say return. And because this actually supports async, it's a task, we will say task.fromResult and then settings.allowedBrowsers.any. And if any browser contains the user agent, and we'll just gonna say user agent contains, then the feature will be true and the user will be able to see this. And in the front end, the code stays the same. Let's copy that, put it at the bottom, give it a name and say browser flag. And then just say, you can only see this on Edge. And that's how we're going to test this actually. And what we need to do is, again, go into the app settings.json and add another item in this feature management object. And we're going to say, how did I name this again? Yeah, browser flag. And I'm going to say browser flag, and very similar thing. I'm actually just going to copy this up until here. And of course, the parameters will not be the same, so I'm going to delete it. Now, the name by default is the full path to the filter. However, I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to use an alias. And I'm going to say filter alias is just browser filter. And this will allow me to just use the name here. So browser filter. And the parameters are just an array called allowed. Actually, let me just copy it to be safe. Allowed browsers. And it is an array. And I'm just going to say edge here. And of course, like we did before, we need to say add feature filter and then browser feature filter. Something I forgot is that the HTTP context accessor is not actually registered in our DI container by default. So I need to say services.add HTTP context accessor here. So with that here, I can now run this and hopefully it will work. So as you can see, I'm running this in Chrome and I can see nothing here because this is not Edge. But if I open Edge, then as you can see, I can see this because this is Edge. And of course, I can just prove that they're running on the same code. Edge has this enabled. Chrome does not have this enabled. And that's how you'd create your own filters. Now, there's actually another built-in filter. And I'm going to show you how it works because it actually exposes some issues that you're going to have to manually deal with, mainly revolving around the session management. And this package has some session management built in, but I don't think it's great. And I think you should actually write something of your own. And I will be actually writing a blog about this. If I have already written the blog about it, you'll find the link to the description down below showing you how to fix that. I won't be fixing it as part of this video. I just want to keep it on the feature flag aspect, not the session management, which is part of feature flags, but I don't want to be covering this in this video because I think that there's a better way to handle this without even dealing with session management. So what I'm talking about is that I can go here and I can say add feature filter, and there's a filter called percentage filter. Now, if I enable this percentage filter, you will understand very easily what it does. I'm going to say random flag here, and then it's very similar. I'm going to use the enable for, and I think the name is just percentage, and then parameters is a single parameter called value. And this value accepts a value from 0 to 100, and this is a percentage. I'm going to set it to 50. And if you haven't understood already, what this will do is 50% of the time this will be true, and 50% of the time this will be false. Let's see this in action. Feature name. What did I name this? Random flag. I'm going to copy that and I'm going to say H3. You will see this half the time. So simply I'm going to run this and I'm going to show you how it looks in the front end. So as you can see, I'm refreshing, and roughly once every time I refresh, I see it, once I don't. Now, I don't think you should be using this sort of percentage feature flag. And the reason why I don't think you should be using it is because in scenarios of A/B testing or canary analysis, you wouldn't want to randomize that in your application. What you want to do instead is simply have a true or false flag in your app settings, and then your traffic manager and your deployment will do the rest for you. Your application shouldn't be the one responsible handling all that session, because in a distributed application scenario, you don't really know your user's distributed session. You're going to have to deal with it. So just put it on your traffic manager and leave it there. And once you do that, you actually don't have to deal with the shortcomings of the session management support in that package. So that's as far as I will go with this randomization percentage flag, because I don't really think it's worth using. And this is actually all I want to cover in this video about advanced features of feature management. I showed you how you can do a time-based one, which is very useful. I showed you how you can make your own custom ones, which is probably the most useful of them all, and explained why you should not use a percentage one at all, and you should be doing that in your traffic manager. That's all I had for you for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Special thanks to my GitHub sponsors for making these videos possible. If you want to support me as well, you're going to find the link in the description down below. Leave a like if you like this video, subscribe for more content like this, and ring the bell as well to get notifications of new videos, and I'll see you in the next video. Keep coding.